Hello, and welcome to this video. Today I will be teaching you how to play the board game Stardust Butterfly, which is a 3-player action drafting game where you play as a ragtag crew of bounty hunters in space. So, before I get started, the version I will be teaching you is the pcio version, or the playingcards.io version. This version of the game you can play online with friends, but there are also two other versions of the game. There is a digital version that expands on the story, and you can play against CPUs. So in that version, I highly recommend you play that version. It's pretty nice. There are 6 different endings. So whenever you play a game, it will show, at the end of a game, it will show an ending. There are 2 endings per character, depending on whether you, as that character, win or lose. And it's pretty cool because all the endings are canon. They don't really conflict with each other, and they tell a story together about this crew. Eventually, as of this recording, it's not there yet, but eventually there will be a print and play version that you can print out and play with your friends. It's going to be very similar to the pcio version, but some things may change because of the way tokens work. Anyways, let's get down into it, shall we? So this is the pcio version. When you load it up, it should already be good to go. And to load it up, by the way, you go to playingcards.io, start up a room, click this toolbox to edit the table, and then in room options, you can import the file that you have downloaded, the pcio file. And then when you do, everything should be set up, cards should already be shuffled. But just in case something's off, you can check. First you check if the market has 5 cards, 5 weapon cards. Then you gotta check to see if there are 3 targets in the target row. The events are all shuffled, and there's 4 of each level. The round tracker is on round 1. The spaceship starts at Anonymita. Each player should have 3 credit cards, or CCs, and 3 dice. And the 9 action cards should be laid out in this row. So, the objective of this game is to get the most reputation points. It takes place over 6 rounds. Each player has a different character, and each character has their own little goals, and that will also give them points. So, when you're ready to begin, everyone should select their character. And then you're going to roll your dice. 1 dice is probably good enough to determine who gets the first player marker. So, Glaz here rolled 6. She gets the first player marker. And with the first player marker, you will be the commander for this first round. A round is divided into 2 different phases. There is the drafting phase, where you're going to draft, take turns drafting from these action cards. Then when all of those cards are drafted, you'll move on to the action phase, where you will do the actions of the cards that you have drafted. So, let's go over some of these actions. There are 9 different actions. They all do pretty cool things. First of all, there's the command action. The player who takes the command action will take the first player marker. This first player marker is important because that means you go first in the next round, or at the end of the game, if you're holding this first player marker, you're going to get 1 point, and if you're tied with someone, you're going to break that tie. It breaks in your favor if you've got this. Another thing you can do, another action card, is contract. You can sign a contract and take one of these target cards. So maybe Sumo here is contracting supportive, meaning that only she can attempt to capture on this card. Speaking of capture, this is the capture action. When you use the capture action, you attempt a hit on a target you have contracted. So if you don't have any targets, you cannot do this action. But when you do attempt a hit on a target, you may have noticed that there are some numbers on here. In the bottom right, there's a capture number. When you attempt a hit, you're going to roll your dice, and if the result is equal to or greater than this capture number, you will catch this bounty and get those points, the RP. So in this case, Sumo rolled a 10, which is not 14. So she has failed to hit supportive. Some targets also have effects. In this case, on a failed hit, this card is discarded. But normally, if you fail, for example, if you attempted a hit on Jack Landsurfer here and failed, nothing would happen. So in the future, you could still attempt another capture. Some characters also have effects on a successful hit, like Sci-Fi Raffens here. When you hit Sci-Fi, you can perform another capture action if possible. Pretty cool. Anyways, if you have a successful hit, you also get the points and discard the card. So you may have noticed that some of these capture numbers are pretty high, and you've only got 3 dice. Well, that's where these other actions come in. You could strengthen. When you strengthen, you add a die to your dice pool. So instead of 3 dice, you'll be rolling 4 dice, increasing your chances of nabbing them bounties. Another thing you can do is investigate. When you investigate, you're going to roll 2 dice, and you're going to apply that much research to a target you have contracted. So for example, Sumo rolled these 2 dice, and she is going to get 4 research. Research is tracked by these little red marbles, and you just plop it onto a target. What research does is it reduces the capture number. So with these 4 research here on Dealbreaker Jones, instead of a capture number of 24, it's now 20. Another thing you can do is purchase. When you purchase, you roll a die and you gain that much in CC, times 2. So if you roll a 6, you're getting 12 CCs. And then you can buy as many cards as you want from the market. So with these 15 CCs, Glaws could buy quite a bit of stuff. The cost is up on the top left, and the power is on the bottom right. So how do you use these weapons? Well, when you attempt a hit to capture a target, you can boost your number after you see a result. You can discard these weapons to boost your result. Here, let me show you. So let's say Gloz is attempting to capture this guy, Bubba Robo. She's going to roll her dice. I don't think she's going to do it. So she's got 13. And she needs 9 more. Oh, maybe she can do it. No, she can't. It's 11 more, I think. So, seeing this, you can discard a Time Winder Grenade to reroll 2 dice. Like this one, and I guess this one. So 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. And then if she wants to, she can dump all this for another 10. 26. There we go. She got Bubba Robo. Good job, Gloz. Keep in mind when you buy from the market, this row will not refresh until the start of the next round. Whereas when you contract the target that you have contracted is immediately replaced. Another thing you can do is warp. So you start off in Anonymita. You may have noticed that these targets have a last seen section with a planet on them. When you warp the ship to a planet that a target is on, their capture number is reduced by 3. So Sci-Fi Raffens here would be 11 points to capture. Yeah, you need to roll 11 to capture her. And her point value goes up by 2 points. So instead of being 2 points, she becomes 4 points. So that's pretty cool. And there are 5 different planets. And then the final 2 actions have to do with character abilities. When you activate, you're going to use your character's unique action. And when you enlist, you're going to use another player's assist action. So, let's go over what the characters do, starting with Sumo. So, each character has their own goal, they have a passive, and 2 different actions based on enlisting and activating. So Sumo's goal, she can investigate her card. Normally, you can only investigate contracted targets. When she puts research on her character card, she would get 10 RP if she has 35 research at the end of the game. She has a passive that also says if she captures a target, any research that was on that target is put onto her card. Normally, that research is discarded. Her unique action also helps with this goal. When she activates, she can take the top target from the target deck. So she gets basically a contract for free and an investigate. In addition to investigating, she can rearrange all of her research however she wants. So for example, if she had like this kind of spread, and then she contracted the snitch, she can make it super easy if she wanted to. Dump it all on one, or spread out her research evenly amongst all of her targets. So then when she captures, it's just going to be pretty easy. However, when you enlist Sumo's help, she must give you one of her contracted targets and 3 extra research of her choosing. So if Glaz here is enlisting Sumo's help, Sumo decides what to give Glaz. Maybe the snitch. And any research that was on that target will go as well. In addition, she will give 3 extra research of her choosing. So she could pull that from anywhere she wants. Maybe she'll even it out. And then she can put that research wherever she wants. So put it on there, or maybe here. Now let's talk about Glaz. Glaz wants to have the most weapon cards at the end of the game. If she does that, she gets 7 RP. It's also very easy for her to get more weapons because she's got a discount from the market. Weapon cards cost 2 CC less, although that number can never go below 1. So, for example, the saltwater spray is 5 CC instead of 7. The seagull sling is 3 CC instead of 5, and so on and so on. But this disposable T-beam, for Glaz, she will still have to pay 1 CC to get it. Her unique action also helps because she gets to take 2 weapon cards for free from either this discard pile or from the top of the deck. So if she's activating, she could take 2 from the top of the market deck, or she can sift through the discard pile and choose 2 from there. Or she can do 1 from the discard pile, 1 from the top of the deck. Now, when you enlist Glaz's help, you get to take a weapon card from her, paying her for half the cost, rounded down. Essentially, she's selling you these cards for cheap. So if Jebri here needs a weapon, he can get this grease gun from her for cheap. By enlisting her help, just give her 3 CCs. Bam. Thanks for the grease gun. So that's Glaz. Let's look at Jebri here. Jebri does not have a passive. And he's got a pretty simple goal. If he has the most dice at the end of the game, he gains 5 RP. Jebri's unique action is to perform the action of another action card he has drafted. For example, if he's got these 3 actions here, he could strengthen, and then when he uses activate, he could strengthen again. Pretty cool. Same thing with like capturing. He could attempt to capture twice. Whenever you enlist Jebri's help, you have to pay him 3 CC. So if Sumo wants his help, that's 3 CC. When you do that, you can perform one of the actions that he has drafted. So Sumo could enlist Jebri's help to also strengthen. If the action you are enlisting Jebri to do is capture, then Jebri will help you by rolling his dice as well. So it's pretty nice. Working together as a team. Anyways, that's the basics of how a round works. When you're done with the round, you click Return Actions, and that should move this up. The market row should fill up if there were any gaps, and the actions will return. And then you start over again, starting with whoever is the commander. Now, there are event cards as well. After every second round, you're going to reveal an event. So, round 2, you reveal event 1. After round 4, you reveal event 2. And after the final 6th round, you reveal event 3. And each of these rounds is generally like a little mini game where you can either roll dice. For example, Rumors of Notoriety, you roll dice and you're going to get points based on what you rolled. And they get increasingly, what's the word I'm looking for? Disruptive? That's probably it. They shake up the game a little bit. The final events especially. You don't have to look at events 1 and events 2 cards, but the final events, all players should have an idea of how they work. Because in the last rounds, that's going to guide your play. So let me show you them right now. There's a 25% chance that these things could happen at the end of your game. So one, this is my favorite one. One thing that could happen is this event. Each player rolls 3 dice, and the player with the lowest result cannot win. Even if they have the most points out of the 3, if they fail this roll, they cannot win. Pretty scary card. The other 3 events aren't like that, I swear. For example, this card, Do I Know You? There is a target in this target deck that is Avaragnis. The player who has successfully hit Avaragnis will get 10 additional RP. Wow, he's really hidden deep. And that's probably good enough. He's not showing up. He's not showing up at all. Oh, there he is. And his effect, it just makes it easy to remember who hit Avaragnis. Another event that could happen is this one, Money is Its Own Reward, in which each player will gain an RP for every 2 CC that they have. So, you could load up on money if you're behind and hope that the point boost will help you out. And the final event, the final event that could happen is Go Your Own Way, where each player performs one final capture action if they can. So yeah, after the final event, you're going to add up any additional points that you got from your goal, if you've achieved it, or from the first player marker. And whoever has the most points wins. If there's a tie, there's this first player marker. And if it's still tied, somehow, whoever has the most money wins. CCs, credit cards. Whoever has the most credit cards wins. So yeah, that's basically how you play the game. If you have any questions, you can always consult this rulebook. It also tells a little bit of the story, which I didn't really go over. At the bottom, there is an FAQ, which has a few questions. But if you have any more questions, you can leave them in the comments below. That's how you play the game. That's all I have to say. Thanks for checking this out. I hope you enjoy it. Definitely play the digital version. I'll see you next time.